Olivia, close your eyes. She laughed softly. What? Because I have a surprise for you. You're acting strange. Strange. Yes. You've been smiling all evening. Maybe I'm just happy. Happy about what? I smiled and reached across the table. You'll find out in a second. Just trust me. She looked at me for a moment. I already trust you, Ethan. Then close your eyes. She slowly covered her eyes with both hands. Okay, they're closed. Promise. I promise. I took a deep breath. My heart was beating faster than it ever had before. I had imagined this moment so many times that I had almost memorized every word I wanted to say. For years, Olivia and I had talked about our future. We had talked about marriage, a small business, a comfortable home, and maybe children someday. Tonight, I finally believed I could give her everything we had dreamed about. Okay, I said, open them. She lowered her hands. I placed a dark folder on the table between us. She stared at it. What is that? Open it. She slowly pulled the folder toward herself. Her eyes widened as she looked at the documents inside. Ethan, I smiled. What? You actually did it? I nodded. I told you I would. She looked back at the papers. The wedding money? All saved. She looked at me again. All of it. All of it. I leaned back, feeling proud for the first time in months. And there's more. What do you mean? I saved enough for the business, too. Her expression changed. You're serious? Completely serious. I pointed toward the papers. We can finally start that little company we talked about. No more waiting. No more saying, maybe next year. We can actually do it. She stared at me without speaking. I laughed nervously. Say something. You really saved all this? I worked every extra hour I could. You never told me. I wanted to surprise you. She looked down again. I reached for her hand. I wanted tonight to be ESP. Olivia, there has to be a reason. There is. Then tell me. She looked away. Ryan. I felt my chest tighten. Ryan Black. Yes. The guy from your office? He's more than that. He's derrière. What does that mean? He understands me. I almost smiled from disbelief. I've known you for 5 years. I know. I stayed beside you when you had nothing. I know. I worked 2 jobs so we could save for our future. I know, Ethan. Then what does Ryan understand that I don't? She looked at me with tears in her eyes. He can give me the life I want. What life? A better life. I slowly shook my head. We were building a life. You were building it. That's not fair. Maybe it isn't. Is this about money? She said nothing. Is derrière. Olivia, answer me. Yes. The single word crushed me. So that's it. It's not that simple. It sounds simple to me. Ryan has money. He has connections. He can give me security. I can give you love. I need more than love. I felt something inside me break. What about everything we promised? People change. You changed. Maybe I finally became honest with myself. I stood there, unable to breathe normally. Does he know you're leaving me? Yes. Is he waiting for you? She looked toward the door. Yes. I closed my eyes for a moment. 5 years. 5 years of memories, promises, plans, and sacrifices. And now I was standing across from the woman I loved while another man waited outside to take her away. Olivia. I whispered, please don't do this. She reached for her engagement ring. Then she slowly pulled it from her finger. My heart sank as she placed it on the table. I am sorry, Ethan. I stared at the ring. It suddenly looked like something that belonged to a stranger. You really chose him? She nodded. Yes. I looked at her one last time. Then go. She hesitated. You're not going to stop me? I swallowed the pain in him. I stood beside the table for what felt like hours. Then I heard a car door slam outside. I rushed toward the window. Olivia was standing beside a black luxury car. Ryan stepped out. He was wearing an expensive suit, and a confident smile covered his face. I watched him walk toward her. He opened the passenger door for her. Olivia looked back at my apartment. For 1 second, our eyes met through the glass. I wanted her to come back. I wanted her to realize what she was doing. Instead, she turned away. Ryan placed a hand on her back. Then they drove away. I stepped away from the window. My phone was still in my hand. The banking app showed the same number. Almost nothing. I opened the transaction history. There it was. A transfer from our savings account. Then another. Then another. My hand started shaking. She had not taken a little money. She had planned this. I called her. She answered after several rings. What? Why did you take everything? I told you. I needed a fresh start. You took money that belonged to both of us. I contributed too. You know that money was for our wedding. Our wedding is over. Her cold voice hurt more than I expected. You could have talked to me. I did. No, Olivia. You made a decision without me. I knew what you would say. What would I say? You would ask me to stay. I closed my eyes. Yes. That's exactly why I didn't ask. Do you love him? Silence. Olivia. Answer me. I think I do. You think? I'm with him now. I laughed bitterly. So that's enough? What do you want me to say? I want the truth. The truth is that I'm tired of struggling. We weren't struggling. You were satisfied with less. And you weren't. No. Her answer was immediate. I looked at the engagement ring lying on the table. Was I ever enough for you? She stayed quiet. That silence destroyed the last piece of hope inside me. Understand? I whispered. Ethan. 20 minutes later, I heard someone knocking. I opened the door. Grace stood there, breathing heavily. Ethan. I'm Fina. She looked at my face. No, you're not. I stepped aside. She entered and immediately noticed the folder on the floor. She really left? I nodded. She took the money too. Grace stared at me. How much? Everything. Everything. Almost. She walked toward me. Sit down. I don't want to sit. Ethan, seat. I finally lowered myself onto the couch. Grace sat beside me. What did she say? I stared at the floor. She said Ryan could give her a better life. Grace's expression hardened. Ryan. I nodded. The rich guy. Yes. And she chose him? Yes. Grace shook her head. I knew something was wrong. I looked at her. What do you mean? She started talking differently a few weeks ago. Why didn't you tell me? Because I thought you two were just having problems. We weren't. I know. I looked down at the ring in my hand. She said I wasn't enough. Grace reached for my shoulder. Don't believe that. It feels true. It isn't. She wanted money. Then she made a choice. She took our savings. I know. I trusted her. I know. My voice cracked. I love her. Grace became quiet. Then she said, I know you did. I looked at her. Why does it hurt this much? Because you didn't just lose Olivia. What did I lose? The future you imagined with her. I looked toward the window. She was my future. Grace shook her head. She was part of the future you imagined. I didn't answer. She continued. You still have a future. Not tonight. Maybe not tonight. I looked at the empty chair. She'll regret this. Grace sighed. Maybe. I want her to regret it. Ethan. What? Don't let revenge become your new life. I looked at her angrily. She stole everything from me. No. She stole money. She stole my future. No. She forced you to bill. Sat quietly beside Grace while the apartment became completely silent. The clock on the wall kept moving, but I barely noticed it. Grace looked at me. Ethan. Yeah. You need to sleep. I don't think I can. You should try. I looked at the engagement ring in my hand. I keep thinking she'll come back. Grace sighed. Maybe part of you wants that. I don't know what I want anymore. That's normal. Is it? Yes. I stared at the ring. I spent 5 years loving her. You still love her. I nodded slowly. That's the worst part. Grace leaned forward. Loving someone doesn't mean you have to chase them. I know. Do you? I looked at her. I think I'm starting to. She smiled faintly. That's enough for tonight. I stood up and walked toward the table. The folder was still lying on the floor. I picked it up. Inside were all the plans I had made for our future. I looked at the wedding date. Then I looked at the business documents. Everything had seemed so certain a few hours ago. Now it felt like another person's life. I closed the folder. I'm going to rebuild. Grace looked surprised. Already? I don't know how. That's okay. But I will. She nodded. I believe you. I placed the engagement ring inside the folder. I don't want to throw it away. Why? Because it reminds me of who I was. Grace gave me a thoughtful look. And who will you become? I looked toward the dark window. I don't know yet. Grace smiled. Then start there. She picked up her coat. I'll come tomorrow morning. You don't have to. I know. Thank you. She stopped at the door. Ethan. Yeah. Don't call Olivia tonight. I nodded. I won't. Promise? I promise. She left. I locked the door and returned to the table. My phone was still beside me. I looked at Olivia's name. My thumb hovered over it. Then I turned the phone face down. No, y whispered. I walked to the window. Outside the city. Spent the next 3 days barely sleeping. Every time I closed my eyes, I heard Olivia saying, "I'm leaving you." On the 4th morning, I finally called her. She answered after several rings. "What do you want, Ethan?" "My money. Our money." "No, the money you took." "I already told you. I took my share." "Your share?" "Yes. You emptied almost the entire account. I spent years with you." "So did I. I sacrificed my life for our relationship." I felt my jaw tighten. "And what exactly did I sacrifice?" "You gave me promises." "I gave you more than promises." "You gave me promises," she repeated. "Ryan gave me a future." Her words hit me harder than I expected. I leaned against the kitchen counter. "What future?" "A secure future. With a man you barely know?" "I know enough about him." "You've known me for 5 years." "I know." "Then how can you say he gives you a future while I only gave you promises?" "Because Ryan can give me things you can't." "What things?" "Security, luxury, connections." I laughed bitterly. "So that's what 5 years were worth." "Don't make this emotional." "How am I supposed to make it?" "You need to accept my decision." "I can accept you leaving." "Then accept it. But I won't accept you stealing from me." Her voice became cold. "I didn't steal anything. You took money without asking me. I believe part of it belonged to me. It was our wedding savings. Our wedding is over." I closed my eyes. "Please return the money, Olivia." "No, just return what you took." "I already made plans." "With Ryan?" "Yes." I felt something inside me crack again. "You really planned all this before leaving?" She didn't answer. "Olivia, I knew you would try to stop me. So you prepared everything behind my back." "I prepared for my future." I stared at the wall. "Your future?" "Yes." "And what about mine?" "You'll be fine." "You don't know that." "You're strong." "You used to." Grace pushed the coffee toward me. "Drink." "I'm not thirsty." "You haven't eaten properly either." "I don't feel like eating." "You don't have to feel like it. You still need to." I picked up the cup. Before I could take a sip, my phone buzzed. I looked at the screen. A message from an unknown number. Then another. Grace noticed my expression. "What happened?" I opened the message. 3 photographs appeared. My stomach tightened. Olivia was standing beside a huge hotel pool. She was wearing an expensive dress I had never seen before. Ryan stood beside her, smiling like he had just won something. The next photograph showed them standing beside a luxury car. The third showed Olivia holding a glass of champagne. I stared at the pictures. Grace leaned closer. "Who sent those?" "Ryan." "What?" I scrolled down. There was one sentence beneath the photographs. "Enjoying the life she always wanted." My hand tightened around the phone. "You want me to see this?" "Obviously. He's mocking me. That's exactly what he wants." I stood up. "I'm going there." Grace immediately shook her head. "No, he took her from me." Olivia made her own choice. He encouraged her. Maybe he did. He's spending my money. Then let the law handle it. I grabbed my jacket. "I just want to talk to him." Grace stepped between me and the door. "No, you don't." "You still here." "What?" "You want him to see how angry you are. So you'll give him exactly what he wants." I looked away. "He thinks I'm weak. Then stop trying to prove him wrong." I remained silent. Grace softened her voice. "Ethan, listen to me." I finally looked at her. "You lost someone you loved. You're angry. You're hurt. I understand that. You don't understand." "Then tell me." I swallowed. I spent years believing Olivia was the person I would grow old with. Grace nodded. "And now she's standing beside another man, spending money I worked for." "I know." The next morning, I arrived at the bank before it opened. Grace came with me. "You didn't sleep again, did you?" she asked. "Not much." "You need to stop doing that." "I'll sleep when this is over." "This won't be over in one day." "I know." We entered the bank and waited until the manager called my name. "Mr. Carter, please come in." I sat across from him. Grace remained beside me. "I need to review every transaction for my accounts." The manager nodded. "Of course. I also need to know whether anyone else had access." He opened the records on his computer. "Your joint savings account was accessed by Ms. Hayes." "I know that." He scrolled further. "There are additional transactions." "From where?" He looked at me carefully. "An investment account." I frowned. What investment account? The Carter family investment account. My heart stopped. That account belongs to my father. Yes. Is there money in it? There was. I leaned forward. How much? The manager told me the amount. I felt my stomach drop. Who withdrew it? He looked at the screen. Ms. Olivia Hayes. I stared at him. No, I'm afraid so. She couldn't access that account. You authorized her several months ago. I remember the moment immediately. I had been preparing for our wedding. Olivia had helped me organize financial documents. I had trusted her enough to add her as an authorized person for basic account management. I never imagined she would use that trust against me. How much did she withdraw? The manager repeated the amount. I felt my hands tremble. That was my father's money. Grace touched my arm. Ethan. I shook my head. He saved that money for years. The manager looked uncomfortable. I am sorry. I stood up. Can you print everything? Yes. Every transaction. Of course. And I want copies of every authorization. The manager nodded. We can provide those. When we left the office, I stopped in the H. Drove home with the bank documents on the passenger seat. I kept looking at the folder at every red light. My father's name was printed across the top. I remember being a teenager, sitting beside him while he explained why he saved every extra dollar. Money isn't everything, Ethan. I had laughed. You always say that, because one day you'll understand. I never thought I would understand because of Olivia. When I reached my apartment, Grace followed me inside. She watched me place the documents on the table. What are you thinking? I should have seen this coming. You couldn't have. I trusted her too much. You loved her. Is that an excuse? No. She sat across from me. But it explains why you trusted her. I looked at the papers. I want to call her again. Grace frowned. Why? I need to hear the truth. You already heard it. I need to know whether she ever loved me. Grace became quiet. Ethan, sometimes you don't get the answer you want. I know. I picked up my phone. Before I could dial, it rang. Olivia. I stared at the screen. Grace whispered, "Don't answer." I answered. What? Why are you doing this? Doing what? Making everything so difficult. I laughed. You took my money. I told you I needed it. You took my father's money. I'll return it. When? I don't know. Then don't promise. She sighed. You're becoming bitter. No, I'm becoming awake. What does that mean? It means I finally see you clearly. She became silent. Then she said, You lost because you were never enough. My chest tightened. Say that again. You heard me. After everything I did for you, you did what you thought was enough. And it wasn't. No. I stared at the wall. You know what hurts? What? I could have forgiven you for falling out of love. She didn't respond. I could have forgiven you for choosing another man. Still nothing. But I can't forgive you for tea. That night, I sat alone at my desk. The apartment felt different. It was still the same place, but Olivia's absence had changed every corner. I opened my laptop and started writing down everything I still had. My skills, my contacts, my experience, my father's lessons, my health, my pride. I stared at the list. Then I added one more thing. Myself. I whispered, You didn't take me. For the first time, I believed it. My phone buzzed. I looked at the screen. Another message from Olivia. I hope you understand now. We were never meant to be. I read it once. Then I deleted it. No reply. No argument. No vaguing. I placed the phone aside. A few minutes later, Grace called. How are you? Better. Really? Yes. What changed? I stopped waiting for her to feel guilty. Grace laughed softly. Good. I can't control what she does. No, but I can control what I do next. Exactly. I looked at the notes on my laptop. I'm going to start working tomorrow. You need a plan first. I'll make one tonight. Don't stay up all night. I won't. You're lying. I smiled. Maybe a little. Ethan. Fine. I'll sleep. Good. Before she hung up, she asked one more thing. What? Are you still thinking about revenge? I looked at the engagement ring inside the folder. No. Are you sure? I want justice. That's different. I know. I ended the call and sat quietly. My father's photograph was still on the shelf. I picked it up. Dad. I whispered. I almost let someone else's choice destroy me. I looked at his face. But I'm not going to. I placed the photograph beside my laptop. Then I opened a blank document. At the top, I wrote, "My new beginning." I stared at those words. They were simple, but they felt powerful. I didn't know how long rebuilding would take. I didn't know how much I would lose before things became better. I didn't know whether Olivia would ever regret what she had done. I moved into a tiny apartment 3 days later. The first night, I sat on the floor because I only had one chair and a thin mattress. I looked around the empty room and whispered, "So this is my life now." My phone rang. "Ethan, it's me." "Daniel?" "Yeah. Can I come over?" I looked around the apartment. "Sure." 20 minutes later, Daniel knocked on the door. I opened it. He stepped inside and looked around. "You really moved here?" "I couldn't afford the old place anymore." "You could have stayed with me." "I know." "Then why didn't you?" "Because I need to learn how to stand on my own." Daniel stared at me. "You don't have to prove anything." "Edo." "To Olivia?" "To myself." He sat on the only chair. "Have you talked to her?" "No." "Good." I looked at the floor. "I still think about calling her." "Don't. What if she regrets it?" "Then let her regret it." "What if she comes back?" Daniel shook his head. "Would you take her back?" I didn't answer. "Ethan." "I don't know." "You do know." I looked at him. "I still love her." "I know. She was my whole life." "No," Daniel said firmly. "She was part of your life." I swallowed. "She took almost everything." "She took money." "She took my future." "No, she took the future you planned with her." I looked away. "I want her to suffer." Daniel sighed. "I knew we'd get here. What's wrong with wanting revenge?" "Nothing feels wrong when you're hurt. So you understand." "I understand the feeling. I don't agree with the choice." "What would you do?" "That's it. That's everything." I laughed bitterly. "She gets Ryan, luxury, and everything she wanted. I get an empty apartment." Daniel stood up. "You get a chance." "A chance for what?" "To become someone you don't need Olivia to approve of." His words stayed with me after he left. I sat alone again. Then I noticed the old storage box beside my mattress. I pulled it closer. Inside were "A job?" I asked. "Yes," Grace said. "A real opportunity." "Who is it with?" "Marcus Reed." I frowned. "Who's that?" "A businessman I know." "What does he do?" "He runs several companies and invests in struggling businesses." I looked around my tiny apartment. "Why would someone like that want me?" "Because I told him what you can do." "You told him about Olivia?" "No, I told him about your work." I felt embarrassed. "I haven't worked properly in weeks." "That doesn't mean you've forgotten how." "What exactly would I be doing?" "I don't know yet." "Then why are you so confident?" "Because Marcus is good at seeing potential." I laughed softly. "I don't feel like I have much potential right now." "That's because you're looking at yourself through Olivia's eyes." Her words stopped me. "I'll meet him," I said. "Good. Tomorrow at 10. The next morning, I wore my cleanest shirt and borrowed a jacket from Daniel. When I arrived at Marcus's office, I felt nervous. Grace was waiting near the entrance. "You came." I almost turned around. "Why?" "I haven't had an interview in years." "You'll be fine." "I hope so." She smiled. "You don't need hope. You need confidence." "I'll work on that." We entered the office. Marcus stood near a large window. He looked calm, serious, and completely comfortable in his position. "Ethan Carter?" "Yes." He extended his hand. "Marcus Reed." I shook it. "Thank you for meeting me. Grace says you're good at solving problems." "I try." "Trying isn't enough." "I know." He smiled. "Good answer." He placed a thick folder on the desk. "Open it." I did. "What am I looking at?" "A company I'm considering investing in." I scanned the numbers. "It's losing money." "Correct. More than the report says." Marcus raised an eyebrow. "Why?" I pointed at the figures. "Here." He leaned closer. "The supply costs are too high." "Yes." "Anything else?" "The management is paying for services T." The next few weeks changed me slowly. I worked hard, but I stopped working only to escape my thoughts. One evening, Marcus called me into his office. "Ethan, sit down." I sat across from him. "You've been doing well." "Thank you." "You've also been working too much." "I can handle it." "I didn't say you couldn't." "Then what's the problem?" "You're trying to prove something." I looked away. "To whom?" "You tell me." I stayed silent. Marcus leaned back. "Olivia." I sighed. "Maybe." "Do you want her to regret leaving?" "Yes." "At least you're honest." "I hate that she thinks I wasn't enough." Marcus nodded. "That feeling can drive you." "It already does." "It can also destroy you." I looked at him. Ow! If every success is about proving someone wrong, you'll never feel successful. His words reminded me of my father's letter. I pulled it from my pocket. Marcus noticed. What is that? My father's letter. Can I ask what it says? I handed it to him. He read the first line. Losing money is painful. Losing yourself while chasing money is worse. Marcus looked at me. Good advice. I almost forgot it. You didn't. I did. No, you found it when you needed it. I took the letter back. I don't want Olivia controlling my life anymore. Then stop giving her that power. I nodded. I will. That night, I returned home and opened my notebook. I wrote 3 goals. Build my career. Recover what I legally could. Become someone I respected. I stared at the 3rd goal. It felt more important than the first 2. My phone rang. It was Daniel. How are things? Better. Really? Yes. What happened? I got a job. I know. Grace told me. I've been doing well. I'm proud of you. Those words meant more than he knew. Thanks. Have you talked to Olivia? No. Good. I laughed. You really hate that idea. I don't hate her. You don't. I hate what she did to you. I became quiet. Woke before my alarm the next morning. For a moment, I forgot everything. Then I saw my father's letter on the desk. I picked it up and read the first line again. Losing money is painful. Losing yourself while chasing money is worse. I smiled. I understand now, Dad. I placed the letter inside my wallet. I wanted to carry his words wherever I went. At the office, Marcus was waiting for me. You look different. I feel different. Good. He handed me a folder. Your first major assignment. I opened it. What do you need? I want you to lead the analysis. Lead it? Yes. I looked at him. Are you sure? I wouldn't offer if I wasn't. I took a deep breath. I'll do it. Marcus smiled. That's the confidence I was looking for. I spent the entire day working with the team. For the first time, people were asking for my opinion. I didn't feel like the broken man Olivia had left behind. I felt useful. I felt capable. When I returned home, I noticed a message from an unknown number. I opened it. I heard he got a new job. I knew immediately who it was. Olivia. I stared at the message. Another one appeared. I'm glad you're doing okay. I almost laughed. Doing okay? A month ago, she had taken my savings and walked away. Now she wanted to know how I was doing. I typed a reply, then stopped. I deleted it. I didn't owe her an explanation. My phone rang. It was Grace. Did you get Olivia's message? How did you know? She contacted me first. I frowned. What did she say? She asked how you were. And what did you tell her? The truth. What truth? That you're rebuilding. I smiled. Thanks. She asked if you're angry. What did you say? I said you're learning not to be. I sat down. She may regret leaving. Maybe. I used to want that. And now? I looked at my father's letter. Now I want peace. Grace became quiet. That's a big change. I think I finally understand. What? My new job was changing my life faster than I expected. I had started waking up with a reason to get out of bed. I had meetings, deadlines, and problems to solve. For the first time in months, my mind was focused on something other than Olivia. But the past still followed me. One afternoon, Marcus walked into my office. Ethan, I want you to meet someone. I looked up. A woman stood beside him, holding a leather folder. This is Sophia Lane, Marcus said. She's a lawyer. Sophia extended her hand. Nice to meet you, Ethan. I shook it. Why do I need a lawyer? Marcus answered before she could. Because of the money Olivia took. My expression changed immediately. I looked at Sophia. What did you find? She placed the folder on my desk. Several unusual transactions. How unusual? Unusual enough that I think you should know exactly what happened. I opened the folder. There were bank statements, transfer records, authorization forms, and copies of old documents. I frowned. This is more than our shared account. Yes. What else was involved? Sophia pointed toward one page. An investment account. I stopped breathing for a moment. My father's account. Partly. I looked at her. What does that mean? Your father legally placed an investment under your name years ago. I knew about the investment, but you didn't know Olivia accessed it. No. Sophia nodded. She did. My fingers tightened around the papers. How? You gave her temporary authorization. I remembered the day immediately. Olivia had been helping me organize our wedding finances. I had trusted her completely. I had never imagined that trust could become a weapon. I gave her access because I trusted her. Sophia looked at me carefully. I understand. No, you don't. She remained calm. Then tell me. I looked down. She was going to be my wife. Sophia nodded. And that is probably why you never suspected anything. I slowly turned. Sophia closed the folder, but didn't move. There's something else. I looked up. What? I traced several transfers after the money left your accounts. Where did it go? She opened another document. Some of it went to an account connected to Ryan Black. My chest tightened. Ryan? Yes. How much? She showed me the records. I stared at the amount. He used Olivia's money? Apparently. For what? An investment. What kind? Property development. I frowned. Is it legitimate? Possibly. Possibly. Sophia leaned back. The project itself may be legitimate. The financing is what concerns me. I looked at Marcus. What did you find? Marcus crossed his arms. Ryan has borrowed heavily against several assets. His own assets. Sophia shook her head. Not entirely. What does that mean? Some ownership documents are disputed. I felt a strange chill. So he borrowed money against things he may not fully own. Yes. And Olivia doesn't know. We don't know what she knows. I stood and walked toward the window. For a moment, I felt almost sorry for her. Then I remembered the empty account. My father's money. Her words. You were never enough. The sympathy disappeared. What happens if Ryan's deal fails? Sophia answered carefully. He could lose a lot. How much? Potentially everything he put into it. I turned around. And Olivia? If her money is invested in that deal, she could lose too. I looked at Marcus. So, the money she took isn't sitting safely somewhere. No, Marcus said. It appears to be at risk. I shook my head. She left me because she wanted security. Sophia nodded. And she may have chosen the riskiest person possible. I almost laughed, but I didn't. I didn't want to celebrate her possible downfall. Not yet. I asked Sophia, can we prove the money came from my accounts? Yes. Can we prove where it went? Some of it. Then what should I do? Preserve. The next morning, I met Sophia at Marcus's office. She placed another stack of papers in front of me. I found something important. I looked at the documents. What now? The money wasn't transferred all at once. How was it moved? Through several smaller transactions. I frowned. What? To make the transfers less obvious. My stomach tightened. So this was planned? It appears that way. I stared at the records. How long was this happening? Several weeks before Olivia left. I felt my chest tighten. She was planning it before she broke up with me. Sophia nodded. Yes. I leaned back. For a moment, I couldn't speak. All those dinners. All those conversations. All those times she told me she loved me. She had already been preparing to leave. I whispered. I really didn't know her. Sophia's voice softened. Ethan, don't blame yourself. How can I not? You trusted someone. I trusted the wrong person. That doesn't make you foolish. It feels foolish. Marcus entered the room. What's happened? Sophia handed him the documents. Transfers were structured to avoid attention. Marcus studied the pages. This is serious. I looked at him. Do I have to take legal action? Sophia answered. You don't have to decide today. I need to think. That's wise. I stood up. Can I keep copies? Of course. I placed them inside my bag. Thank you. As Sophia gathered her things, she said one more thing. I looked at her. If Ryan's investment collapses, don't assume it gives you permission to interfere. I won't, even if Olivia loses everything. I paused. I don't want her ruined. Sophia raised an eyebrow. That's different from what you said a month ago. I was different a month ago. Marcus smiled. That may be the most important thing you've said. I left the office and drove home. Halfway there, my phone rang. Olivia. I stared at the screen. My heart started beating faster. I